GTWJ, where fashion thinks deeper. You've probably noticed your favorite luxury bags and accessories getting more and more expensive, but what's really going on behind the price tags? Today we're deep diving into the real reasons luxury brands, especially LVMH and Hermes, keep raising prices, and how this all ties into global politics, trade wars, and yes, even China. This is not just about fashion, it's about global strategy. Let's get into it. Luxury prices are rising across the board. Again, from Chanel to Louis Vuitton, and yes, even Hermes just hiked their prices by up to 10% in 2024, with more increases expected this year. And it's not just luxury inflation, there's more at play. Reason 1, global inflation. Yes, it still plays a role. Materials, labor, and logistics cost more than they did 5 years ago, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Reason 2, the US-China tariff war. LVMH has been facing rising pressure with tariffs between the US and China intensifying. Luxury goods imported into the US from China or vice versa face higher taxes. That means if you're buying a Louis Vuitton or Dior piece that's been assembled in Europe but includes components made in China, it could cost more just to cross borders. LVMH's solution? Strategic production. They're expanding manufacturing in Europe, but also quietly relying on China for certain production stages, while lobbying to keep their Made in France labels legally intact. So, while you think you're buying fully European luxury, some components may have traveled through Chinese factories. Now, why would brands want to raise prices? Here's where it gets psychological. Luxury brands are not just covering costs, they're protecting brand value. LVMH, Chanel, Hermes, they want their products to be exclusive. That means keeping demand high, supply tight, and prices rising. It's called artificial scarcity. The higher the price, the more desirable the item feels. And guess what? Customers are still buying. The price increases aren't turning people away, they're actually making people want the product more. And then there's Hermes, a class of its own. Their strategy is don't discount, don't mass produce, don't rush. Hermes increased prices again this year, especially on bags and leather goods. But it's not because they need to, it's because they can. When you're buying a Birkin or Kelly, you're not just buying a bag, you're entering a long-standing luxury relationship. You can't just walk in and buy one. And while people complain about the price, it doesn't stop them from trying to get one. Hermes knows their worth, and they're not playing the fast fashion game. So here's the real question. Should you still invest in luxury? If you're buying for status, know that the price hikes are part of the game. If you're buying for resale value, this may help you as rarer items climb in value. If you're buying because you love the product, then know what you're paying for. Craftsmanship, exclusivity, and a brand story that's tightly protected. But don't be fooled. Price increases are not always about better quality. They're often about strategy, perception, and market positioning. So yes, luxury is getting more expensive, but behind the price tags are trade wars, cultural shifts, and masterful brand manipulation. What do you think? Are the price increases justified? Would you still buy luxury in this market? Let's dive even deeper. Now that we've laid the foundation, let's talk about why these price hikes aren't just about business, they're about power. Luxury is not designed to be fair. It's not meant to be accessible, it's a controlled system. And when brands like LVMH raise prices, they aren't worried about losing the average shopper. They're reinforcing the barrier between them and everyone else. Let's break this down. 1. The price of perception. When a bag goes from $5,000 to $8,000, most industries would panic. Luxury? They thrive. The price isn't a deterrent, it's a filter. It's the difference between saying I bought a nice bag and I bought the bag. This isn't an accident, it's design. The price tells a story. This is not for everyone, and people buy that story. LVMH knows the psychology of scarcity. So does Chanel. So does Hermes. They are in the business of identity, selling who you are or who you want the world to think you are. And guess what? The more expensive something is, the fewer people can buy it. That exclusivity makes it more valuable. It's not about the leather, it's about the message. Number 2, the Asian market and silent shifts. Let's talk Asia, especially China. Before the pandemic, Chinese shoppers accounted for nearly a third of global luxury sales. Brands flew VIP clients to Paris. Flagship stores rolled out red carpets. Now, things are shifting. With rising tariffs and growing nationalism, many Chinese consumers are turning inward. They're buying from local luxury brands or asking harder questions about where items are made and whether Western brands deserve their loyalty. This is where Made in China becomes controversial. Luxury brands want China's manufacturing power, but not the label. So they navigate a loophole. If a product is finished in France or Italy, even if many parts were made elsewhere, they can legally label it as Made in France. That's where the ethics get murky. You think you're buying heritage. In reality, you're buying a global product dressed in European storytelling. Hermes, the last purist. Now back to Hermes, arguably the most protected luxury house in the game. They don't do flashy marketing, they don't sell trends, and they certainly don't apologize for their wait lists. But even Hermes isn't untouched. They too are increasing prices, not just because of inflation, but to maintain their aura. If Chanel is trying to catch up to Hermes in exclusivity, Hermes is pulling away quietly, and the higher the prices go, the more people crave them. That's luxury logic. And let's not forget, the Hermes experience is part of what you pay for. Repairs, leather spas, lifetime care for your items. Try walking into a fast fashion store and asking for that. Luxury isn't just about the product, it's about the aftercare, access and feeling. You're not just buying a bag, you're entering a relationship. So what's the future of luxury? Here's where it gets fascinating. We're entering an era where everyone knows the game. Consumers are smarter. TikTok is exposing what happens behind the scenes. Reddit threads are filled with factory leaks. The veil is thinner than ever, and yet luxury keeps rising. Why? Because even when the truth is visible, the dream is powerful. A dream of elegance, of access, of being seen. And some people genuinely love the artistry, the design, the craftsmanship. Others just want the flex. And honestly, both are valid. If you like it and can afford it, that's enough of a reason. But here's where GTWJ stands. Know what you're buying. Know the story behind the bag, not just the one they sell you. Be informed. Be stylish. Be aware. Let's keep the conversation going. What's your opinion on these luxury price hikes? Do you think it's strategy, greed, evolution, or all of the above? Comment below. I read everything, even the spicy takes. And again, thank you for helping us reach 3K subscribers. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I love reading your perspectives. We're not here to echo each other, we're here to think deeper. Follow us on Instagram at GTWJMag and visit gtjmag.com for more insights, interviews and fashion deep dives. GTW, where fashion thinks deeper. See you in the next one.